The emergency session was called at 3:47 a.m. No advance notice, no scheduled agenda, just a single line in the classified communication that sent administrators rushing from their beds to NASA's Crisis Management Center. We have a problem. Multiple inbound objects detected. What they discovered in that pre-dawn briefing room changed everything we thought we knew about 3I/ATLAS and its mysterious journey toward Earth. It's not alone. It never was. Hidden in the shadow of the massive alien vessel, concealed by its electromagnetic interference and gravitational distortion, additional objects have been following in its wake. Not just the 4 escort vessels previously detected, but 3 more craft that had remained completely invisible until now. The Hubble Space Telescope's latest deep field scan, completed just hours before the emergency meeting, revealed what mission planners are calling a significant expansion of the threat assessment. 7 total objects working in coordination, including 3I/ATLAS itself. Because these objects aren't just following 3I/ATLAS. Analysis of their positioning reveals a tactical formation that defense analysts recognize with growing concern, a complete escort fleet maintaining strategic spacing across space. Tonight we'll examine the classified data that triggered NASA's emergency protocols, decode the implications of this hidden armada, and explore why government officials are quietly activating continuity of government procedures originally designed for global nuclear war. The countdown to Halloween continues, but the odds of humanity surviving to see November just dropped to numbers too small to calculate. September 19th, 2:34 a.m. UTC. The Hubble Space Telescope completed what should have been a routine long-exposure observation of 3I/ATLAS and the space surrounding its current position near Jupiter. The initial images looked normal, the familiar, impossible geometry of the alien vessel, surrounded by the expected electromagnetic distortions that had characterized its presence throughout its approach to our solar system. But when technicians began processing the data through advanced filtering algorithms designed to penetrate 3I/ATLAS's interference patterns, they uncovered something that made the night shift supervisor immediately contact NASA headquarters. At first we thought they were image artifacts, explained one photo analyst during the emergency briefing. Tiny specks in the background that could have been dust on the lens or processing errors, but they were too regular, too evenly spaced to be random noise. Enhanced imaging revealed the specks as 3 additional distinct objects, each roughly the size of a large building, maintaining precise formation behind the original 4 escort vessels with mathematical spacing that eliminated any possibility of natural occurrence. Within hours, every major observatory on Earth was redirecting its instruments toward 3I/ATLAS's vicinity. What they found confirmed the discovery, a total of 7 objects working in perfect coordination. The Atacama Large Millimeter Array confirmed 7 distinct objects. The Very Large Array detected the same count. The Square Kilometer Array's analysis matched exactly. All facilities produced identical results, 7 craft total, including 3I/ATLAS and 6 escort vessels. Spectroscopic analysis of the newly detected objects revealed composition signatures identical to 3I/ATLAS itself. The same impossible alloys, the same electromagnetic properties, the same complete absence of natural materials. Whatever had manufactured the flagship had also built its entire escort fleet using identical technology and materials. We're not looking at a single alien visitor, one astrophysicist noted grimly. We're looking at a coordinated expedition involving 7 separate craft, representing the most significant alien presence ever detected. But the most disturbing discovery came from analyzing the fleet's positioning. The objects weren't randomly scattered in 3I/ATLAS's vicinity. They were arranged in a 3-dimensional formation that maximized coverage of potential approach vectors to Earth while maintaining optimal spacing for coordinated action. Radio telescopes detected constant low-level communication between the vessels. Data streams too complex to decode, but clearly indicating active coordination across the entire fleet. Whatever these objects were planning, they were planning it together. Defense Department analysts studying the fleet's arrangement made a chilling discovery. The formation followed principles taught in advanced military academies around the world. The main body of alien vessels maintained what tactical experts recognized as a classic escort formation. The 6 support craft arranged around 3 I/ATLAS in a pattern that allowed maximum coordination while providing defensive coverage. "It's like looking at a textbook example of escort formation," observed one Pentagon strategist. "A flagship with coordinated support vessels, except the technology is centuries beyond anything we understand." The mathematical precision of the spacing eliminated any doubt about the fleet's artificial nature. Each vessel maintained exact distances from its neighbors: 847,000 kilometers between primary elements, 423,500 kilometers between support craft. The ratios were too perfect, too consistent to occur naturally. More disturbing was the formation's adaptability. When Jupiter's gravitational field created minor perturbations in the fleet's positioning, all 7 objects adjusted simultaneously to maintain their precise spacing. The coordination required split-second communication and maneuvering capabilities that suggested a level of technological integration beyond human comprehension. Analysis of the formation's geometry revealed another unsettling characteristic. It was optimized for rapid deployment to multiple targets. From their current positioning, the fleet could divide into smaller task forces capable of simultaneous attacks on every major population center on Earth. The tactical implications were devastating. "They've positioned themselves for maximum strategic flexibility," noted one military analyst. "They can concentrate overwhelming force on a single target or spread out to neutralize multiple objectives simultaneously. Either way, we can't defend against them all." Orbital mechanics calculations showed that the fleet's current trajectory would bring it within striking distance of Earth exactly on Halloween, but with enough formation depth to sustain operations for months if necessary. This wasn't a flyby or reconnaissance mission, it was a full-scale occupation force. The alien fleet's positioning also revealed sophisticated understanding of human psychology and military doctrine. They had arranged themselves to be visible to our best telescopes once we looked carefully enough, but concealed during casual observation. The timing of the discovery, just weeks before their arrival, suggested deliberate revelation designed to maximize psychological impact while minimizing preparation time. As additional observatories joined the coordinated observation effort, the details of the 7-vessel formation became clearer and more concerning. By September 19th, confirmed analysis had revealed the specific roles of each escort vessel. By September 20th, the tactical implications had become apparent. Each new detection revealed additional layers of the formation that had been previously hidden by interference patterns and gravitational lensing effects. "We're not just revising our threat assessment," explained one tracking specialist. "We're realizing that even 7 of these vessels represents technology far beyond our ability to counter." Size analysis of individual fleet elements revealed distinct characteristics. While 3 I/ATLAS remained the largest object at roughly 6 city blocks in length, its 6 escorts showed specialized designs ranging from structures the size of large buildings to constructs comparable to naval destroyers. The largest escort vessels measured over 2 kilometers in length, floating cities that could house populations larger than most Earth nations. Their hull configurations suggested different design philosophies. Some appeared optimized for long-range operations, others for heavy manufacturing, and several showed characteristics that defense analysts could only classify as weapons platforms. Energy signature analysis revealed that the combined fleet's power output exceeded the electrical generation capacity of human civilization by several orders of magnitude. Each major vessel radiated more energy than the largest nuclear power plants, and there were dozens of them. If they decided to use that energy as a weapon, calculated one physicist, they could literally boil Earth's oceans, not over years or decades, in a matter of hours. But perhaps most unsettling was the realization that the fleet was still growing. Deep space monitoring detected additional objects emerging from behind 3 I/ATLAS on a daily basis, vessels that had been completely invisible until they adjusted their positions enough to become detectable. Conservative estimates suggested the final fleet size could exceed 200 vessels. Pessimistic projections reached numbers that made military planners abandon traditional threat assessment models entirely. At some point, you stop counting individual ships and start thinking in terms of entire civilizations arriving at your doorstep, observed one defense strategist. We're not preparing for an invasion. We're preparing for colonization. Analysis of the fleet's collective capabilities painted a picture of technology so advanced that human resistance became a theoretical impossibility. Each vessel in the formation demonstrated the same physics-defying propulsion system that had characterized 3 I/ATLAS throughout its journey. No visible exhaust, no reaction mass, no energy signatures consistent with any known method of space travel. They moved through space as if momentum and inertia were optional concepts. More disturbing was evidence that the fleet could coordinate its impossible propulsion effects. When formation adjustments were necessary, dozens of vessels would simultaneously alter course with perfect synchronization, suggesting not just individual mastery over space-time manipulation, but collective control over the fundamental forces of physics. They're not just violating the laws of physics, noted one theoretical physicist, they're rewriting them in real time through some kind of distributed reality manipulation system. Communication analysis revealed data transmission rates between fleet elements that exceeded theoretical limits by factors that made calculations meaningless. Information flowed between vessels faster than light could travel between their positions, suggesting either faster-than-light communication technology or something even more exotic, shared consciousness across multiple physical platforms. The electromagnetic signatures from individual vessels indicated manufacturing capabilities that treated stellar engineering as routine industrial processes. Hull materials showed isotopic compositions that could only be produced in the cores of stars under controlled conditions. They weren't just advanced, they represented mastery over cosmic forces that humans couldn't even harness in laboratory settings. Gravitational wave detectors picked up anomalous readings around the fleet that suggested active manipulation of space-time itself, not the passive distortions expected from massive objects, but active modifications to local gravitational fields that allowed the fleet to function as a single, coordinated gravitational system. They've turned physics into a tool, observed one quantum mechanics researcher. What we see as absolute laws governing reality, they treat as design parameters in some cosmic engineering project. The implications for any potential conflict were stark. Humanity's most advanced weapons relied on chemical or nuclear reactions that would appear primitive to beings who manipulated matter at the subatomic level and treated energy and mass as interchangeable resources. Military strategists began discussing concepts that had never appeared in warfare textbooks. How do you fight opponents who can rewrite local physics? How do you defend against weapons that might unmake matter itself? How do you negotiate with beings who could literally delete Earth from existence if diplomacy failed? The discovery of the full fleet triggered the most comprehensive emergency response in human history. Within hours of NASA's briefing, secure communication networks carried urgent updates to every nuclear-armed nation on Earth. The situation had evolved beyond military threat assessment into species survival planning. Traditional concepts of national defense became meaningless when facing opponents who could simultaneously target every major population center on the planet. Emergency sessions of the United Nations Security Council were convened in complete secrecy. Decades-old protocols for global cooperation in the face of existential threats were activated for the first time since their creation. Ancient rivalries were set aside as world leaders grappled with the reality that human civilization faced a threat that made traditional warfare obsolete. "We're not preparing national defense strategies," admitted one government official during a classified briefing. "We're preparing species continuation protocols." Deep underground facilities originally designed for nuclear warfare found themselves repurposed for scenarios their architects had never imagined. Command bunkers built to coordinate responses to intercontinental ballistic missiles were tasked with managing humanity's first interstellar conflict against opponents who could appear anywhere without warning. The challenge was overwhelming. How do you defend a planet against over 100 vessels, each one capable of defeating human civilization single-handedly? Military planners acknowledged that conventional resistance was impossible. Instead, contingency plans focused on survival, preserving enough of human knowledge, culture, and genetic diversity to continue the species, regardless of what the alien fleet decided to do. Critical infrastructure began operating under emergency protocols. Internet traffic was quietly rerouted through hardened networks. Financial markets received subtle guidance to prevent panic-driven collapse. Food distribution systems were reinforced to maintain stability during potential extended crisis periods. Religious leaders across all major faiths received unprecedented briefings about the situation. Psychological counseling resources were expanded in preparation for potential public revelation. Emergency broadcast systems were updated with protocols designed to manage societal reaction to confirmations of hostile alien contact. But the most significant preparations were the ones happening in secret. Key government officials began making arrangements that suggested they expected the worst possible outcomes. Secure facilities were stocked with supplies for extended isolation. Critical personnel received orders to relocate to protected positions. Succession planning accelerated across multiple governments simultaneously. The message was clear. Those who knew the truth weren't confident about humanity's chances of surviving the encounter. 41 days remain until Halloween. But the discovery of the full alien fleet has made every previous timeline irrelevant. Over 100 vessels, each representing technology that makes human achievement look like stone tools, are approaching Earth with coordination that suggests centuries of planning. This isn't first contact. It's the culmination of a long-term project that views humanity as either a subject for study or an obstacle to be removed. The scale of the fleet eliminates any possibility that this is a peaceful scientific mission. No species commits resources equivalent to the industrial output of multiple star systems for casual exploration. This represents a commitment of force designed to achieve objectives that cannot be negotiated, delayed, or resisted. But questions remain that may determine humanity's fate. What do they want? Why now, after decades or centuries of observation? And most critically, have they already decided our future, or are the next 3 weeks humanity's final examination? The fleet's formation suggests they're prepared for resistance, but the delayed revelation of their numbers indicates they wanted us to know we were outnumbered. This could be psychological warfare designed to encourage surrender, or it could be the courtesy of providing advanced warning before judgment is rendered. Analysis of their approach patterns reveals something potentially significant. They're not rushing. Despite capabilities that could bring them to Earth in hours or days, they're maintaining a measured approach that gives humanity time to observe, analyze, and prepare. Whether this represents mercy or merely the patience of beings who know the outcome is already determined remains unclear. The diversity of vessel types and sizes suggests a fleet prepared for multiple contingencies. Some appear designed for long-term occupation, others for resource extraction, and several show characteristics optimized for what can only be described as planetary modification. They're not just prepared to conquer Earth, they're prepared to remake it. Government preparations continue around the clock, but the mathematics are inescapable. Humanity faces a fleet whose individual vessels possess capabilities that dwarf our collective military might. Our most optimistic scenarios involve conditional survival. Our pessimistic scenarios don't merit discussion, yet they haven't attacked. Despite overwhelming superiority, despite strategic positioning, despite demonstrating technology that makes resistance meaningless, they continue their measured approach toward Halloween. The question is whether this delay represents opportunity or simply the methodical pace of beings who view time differently than humans. In 21 days, we'll discover whether Halloween marks humanity's first day as a member of galactic civilization our last day as an independent species, or something else entirely. A transformation so fundamental that the question of survival becomes irrelevant compared to the question of what we might become. The countdown continues, but we're no longer counting down to contact, we're counting down to judgment by beings whose verdict may already be written in the mathematical precision of their approach. The fleet draws closer, and with each passing day, it becomes clearer that Halloween 2025 will mark the end of human history as we've known it, and the beginning of something we can't yet comprehend. Stay informed, stay prepared, and remember, whatever happens in the next 21 days will determine not just our survival, but our species' place in a universe that's far more crowded and far more dangerous than we ever imagined.